I hear that one day HR departments will be replaced by technology. I don't think that will ever happen. And I have been certain from the very beginning when even ideas like that came to place. HR is just such a strategic advisor that it will never be fully replaced.
They keep telling us that it's all over for HR. The age of AI is upon us, and that means HR should be prepared to be decimated. We reject that message. The future of HR won't be handed to us. Instead, it'll be defined by those ready to experiment, adopt, and adapt. Future-Proof HR invites these builders to share what they're trying, how it's going, what they've learned, and what's next. We are committed to arming HR with the AI insights to not just survive, but to thrive. Hello and welcome to Future-Proof HR, where we explore how forward-thinking HR leaders are preparing for disruption and redefining what it means to lead people in a changing world. I'm your host, Thomas Kunjapu, CEO of Cleary. Today's guest is Angelika Ivanov-Jackson, the founder at IGR, a globally focused HR and recruitment agency. With over a decade of experience in global HR specifically, Angelika has built people strategies and HR infrastructures across the US, EMEA, APAC, MENA, and RSA regions, spanning industries from real estate to finance to e-commerce, AI, and ad tech. She's known for designing HR functions from scratch, launching new markets, and partnering with executives to scale high-performing teams while preserving cultural DNA. Angelika, welcome to the podcast.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Let's start maybe talking a little bit about generations, because you built HR teams in different organizations and from the recruiting engine to the other core HR practices. But tell me about how you feel being in the generation that you're in. What is unique, especially from an HR perspective, that you bring to the table?
That's a very interesting question for the start. Every generation is different, and I was very fortunate to be able to support all of them. I started working very early. I'm a millennial by myself, and my career started in the corporate world on the first year of my university times. I definitely learn a good base of how to even have an ethic in the workplace. And I think that older generation than mine really were bringing this in a huge level. The generations which are now on the market, which are joining to the market, are definitely different. Like every generation is different, and every generation definitely needs a different touch from the HR side. And we as HRs, we always to adjust to whatever comes. This is exactly how I would describe every day in HR. Every day is different. And the same like with every generation and every human being we have under our protection in the company as HR professionals. So I would describe it like that.
So we're of the same generation, but at this point, we're not the youngest generation in the workplace. And there's been a few years now of Gen Z getting in post-college and into all types of functions and even getting towards mid-career. What would you say is, from an HR perspective, what have you noticed is different in supporting Gen Z versus millennials?
Yeah, I love Gen Z for so many reasons. They are so driven. They want to feel an impact. They like whatever project they do, they want to feel that they really improve the place where they are at. And that's something what founders, CEOs many times don't understand. It's just for this young professionals, they just whatever they do is even if this is internship, they just want to feel that whatever they do, they are making impact in the workplace, that they are force which is change, and that their work matter. And also, I think that they really they were the force which teach us older generations that about respect of everybody's work. I feel like that was somewhere in the background, but always in the background in the healthy organizations, of course, that there is a respect to your work, to your position, and you name it. But I feel like this generation really brought a huge light into this, that every person in the company matter, that as that companies as a whole, and like I said earlier, that every person is making an impact and every person deserves to be seen for exactly what they're bringing to the table.
Another slice of just, I guess, humanity that I feel like you have a really unique insight into is a global perspective, right? You've come in from Europe into the US, but you've led organizations in pretty much every kind of continent, right? Where you work with the folks there. What have been some of your observations when you're talking about global HR? What are some of the challenges that organizations have that are maybe the same across the world, and but especially what are some unique differences, right? That
Yeah.
challenges that HR professionals have when they're in different geos.
I love this question because I remember when I first time I got into the global opportunity, and I was very fortunate to like get opportunity like that very early, on a very early stage in my career. And I remember how nervous I was because I'm like, I have not even been in this country, like how I can even run a HR process there. But to tell you the truth, this whole stress was for nothing, because I know after decades, I know now that we as people, we are truly the same in everywhere. We have the same issues. We want the same things. Of course, we speak different languages. We have different culture backgrounds. And what's definitely a main difference, of course, in the HR situationship is the law, the labor law. That's definitely something you have to follow as an HR to make sure that your organization is fully compliant with the market you're in. But as for people itself, it just, we are all the same. We have all the same problems and happy moments in the workplaces. We truly want the same things, and it doesn't matter. Is it in Dubai? Is it in US? Is it in Poland? Is it in any other place? The value stays the same. Small differences, like I said, cultural. Every country is different and every country is unique. But those are really small. The main factor stays the same, whatever you go. Of course, the processes itself are different. You will run interview very differently in Europe and in the US. Even like the application process. Some countries, you are sending your resume with the picture. In US, it's not what you do. And the
Ah,
questions you are allowed or not allowed to ask during the interview process, they will also vary. Of course, entering a new country, you have to understand this market, and you have to understand what is allowed and what is not, what is well seen, what is absolutely not something you should do or ask or proceed with. But but in general, I would say the stress of entering a new markets, it's not, shouldn't be big, because if there's like any HRs which will be listening this podcast and they are opportunity like that comes to them, they shouldn't be afraid. This is something that you can really learn fast and keep up faster than you think, actually.
so there's, if anyone is looking at expanding into a new market, that often happens, right? Especially with the age of the internet and customer expansion happening globally faster. People are going from an employment perspective into new markets faster. The challenge on the HR side is often like, okay, how do I set up this new office or entity or hire up the core group there? And it's a, to your point, it's a big moment of pause, right, for folks in HR. I need to find someone locally who can execute all these things because everything there is going to be different. Are you saying that actually maybe if it's it takes some effort, but it's something that you could evolve if you understand a certain number of factors in depth in one market. You can learn and evolve in that way versus hiring someone local or getting local help. Would you say that's the case, or kind of depends?
Yes, you can do both ways. Why I love HR from the beginning, and I think it's important for me to start from there, it's because HR professionals, HR departments, we are really like ninjas in the organizations. We adapt quickly. Like I said on the beginning, you need to adapt quickly for whatever situation. And nothing really starts without HR because HR brings people. HR brings law and order into the organization and make sure that everything is like how it's supposed to be. Of course, entering new market, you're doing extensive research, and this is something what you can do by yourself. And there is in today's world, there is like just so many materials out there that you can do the research by yourself. But what is definitely more helpful is to start. And I have many times worked in solutions like that with organization that you actually your first placement in the new location is an HR, and it's HR who is very generalist, who understands all perspectives of what it's needed to bring into the new location, right? And from my observation, clients who started that way really growed faster, better, and they made much more less financial loss. They just did it better that way. When the first person really was an HR professional, and then you're starting from the CEO and general manager, it's always, if organization already has like other location, it's better to send somebody from the location to be a temporary uh, general manager and start this with an HR, because the person from the other location will bring the company culture and the general setup, but the local HR will make sure that the location has all the compliance in place, that everything is taken care of from the law perspective, from the wages perspective, and that you do not make mistakes with hiring from the first place. And of course, the local HR works already with your other HR professionals from the other locations, but you do not have to necessarily send them to the location. They can be remote, and you have a person in place already who understand the market better than anybody.
That's a thoughtful advice, and it depends on the actual expansion plan for the local region. But having the first hire be in HR kind of sets the tone and sets you up for success, is what I'm hearing. So if that's one way to expand globally, let's just talk more broadly about the HR function in general, right? Yeah. So what do you think, if you're looking through your career to today, do you think what is asked of the HR function has changed at all?
Yeah, it changed massively, I would say. I remember on the beginning of my career, definitely HR was pretty much seen as somebody we hire, we fire, and occasionally we organize a Christmas party. Pretty much, it was just seen like that. Today, in today's world, HR is a heart of the organization, and not everywhere, obviously. It's not everywhere it's happening, but the understanding of HR function and what healthy HR department looks like is definitely much more broad. And again, founders, company leaders who understands that HR is your business partner and really a heart of your company. From my observation and even from the statistics, and not only mine, there is a lot of publications out there who proves that point too. Just organizations like that grows much faster and without many mistakes, which can be avoided because only HR has, as a department, make sure that every step forward is really looked through thought through and taken care of. So they are much more than just hiring, firing, and organizing parties. They HR takes care of, like we spoke extensively about, your compliance of the organization, law and order in place, but also hiring a right talents which will not only match the culture they also creating, because HR creates culture and make sure that this culture stays. So they hire talents which not only bring the skill set, they also match the culture and flow of organization which is today. And if you want to part ways with somebody, they making sure that you will do it correctly, that you will not end up with some unnecessary and maybe ugly lawsuit in the background because nobody really needs it. And of course, they also create opportunities for people to grow internally and be promoted and stay in the organization for years, because that's everybody's goal. Like, you want everybody who you hire stay as long as only possible, because it's always more profitable for organization to have it that way, right? But it's like just so much more, and there's just so much more to even say. Even HR is responsible for even salaries for every 2 weeks, every month payments. It's like agreements, everything. So it's just, you cannot really do it that well without treating HR as your true business partner and just give them the place at the table what they truly deserve, and always hear their perspective. And from my experience, definitely founders not always like of what HR says, but we will say it anyway. The decision is always yours, but we are here to tell you scenario A, scenario B, and scenario C. And in the end, we will proceed with whatever road you want us to follow, and we will make sure that you are well protected as our client. But we are expecting the worst, hoping for the best, but proceeding with whatever is in place. That's how I would describe it.
So, Angelika, that's an interesting transition you've described about how the relationship for HR and the C-suite or founders has evolved. But then if you project that forward, now where we're in an age of AI, business and strategic background that we're operating in is continuously more murky. Laws, it can also like shift. With post-COVID, we're dealing with a whole new surface area with like remote work, and things keep continuing to shift. And maybe there's some expectation with AI for a lot of things, not just in HR, but across GNA, to be more efficient. But
Mhm.
how do you think about where HR is headed and how we can stay future proof?
Definitely the world is changing all the time. And with AI right now in place, I mean, there's a change for every department. It's not just HR. If it comes to HR, like from whatever I started working in that field, I hear that one day HR departments will be replaced by technology. I don't think that will ever happen. And I have been certain from the very beginning, when even ideas like that came to place. HR's, we talked. It's just such a strategic advisor that it will never be fully replaced. But what's changed, definitely AI is bringing huge help to HR professionals. And so we are already using it. It's not a question, even, do you want to use AI or not? It's just who will start using it faster than has an advantage. And you can be still scared about it. You can, like, obviously, but you're missing out, because this, if I am looking back and thinking even like how long many tasks were taking me, and how much faster and how much more productive I am on my daily duties with AI, help. It's not even comparable. It's a light speed, I would say. So yeah, definitely the world changed. The world is constantly changing. Like our conversation probably will not be relevant in 2 years from now, and there will be like just more which comes to this everyday table. But as for now, definitely organizations which already understood what extra tools, what extra softwares, what extra whatever it is, you name it, based on AI or with AI, and they can adapt this. They can have HR who are leading this change and prepare trainings for each department in the company and bring them these tools, and so they can have this advantage, so they can be faster than anybody else, than competitors, then you will win a lot, not only as individual in the workplace, but as a organization as a whole.
This has been a fantastic conversation so far. If you haven't already done so, make sure to join our community. We're building a network of the most forward-thinking HR and people operations professionals who are defining the future. I will personally be sharing news and ideas around how we can all thrive in the age of AI. You can find it at gocleary.com/Cleary-community. Now back to the show. So you've been in that role many times of being that first HR person to come into an organization, basically set up everything from scratch, right? So there's a team in place, there's maybe some funding or revenue, obviously, and then you want to grow a little bit. Recruiting usually tends to be top of mind, and now you're getting into compliance, and there's a series of tasks that tend to come in that first setting the table as a function. At this point, if you're doing that from scratch for a new organization, what is different? What is your mindset? Who are you hiring, or what tools are you using? How do you actually go about setting that up for an organization at that early stage?
Great question. Yeah, it was each time basically. Yeah, I would say that I specialize in the openings from the scratch or completely reshaping the organization which already exists. But yeah, when you start, definitely you're starting from understanding the legal aspect of, like we discussed already. Like the legal aspect is very important, and you analyze the wages to be competitive on the market, and benefits, whatever you can do to make your organization attractive, because you entering this market, and you want to make sure that you do not miss all these little details. But if it comes to the hiring, I usually advise to start from the top positions of the departments and let them to drive how they want to structure each of the department, because they will lead this department and they will lead this individual. So everything has to match, not only a skill set and the description we had in other location in mind, but also those soft aspects and cultural fits as well. And somebody who just see the vision, because every organization, even if it's global, when they entering a new location, they are startup there, and you have to treat it as such. Nothing is in place yet, and you need some time to build it, right? So you need also people who understand that they're, for example, joining even a global organization, but this location, it's just about to start. So this location is a startup, but with the corporate and very well structured background, like in some other countries, right? If we have a situation like that, because I also work with startups who didn't have any other locations, and that was just a start in general. That's a startup, like in full understanding of this meaning. But so what tools, like we discuss, you can right now do a lot of things by yourself, but you can also start work with some agencies already in place in terms of finance or legal aspects. But if we are choosing working with HR, because every organization is different, and of course, like every field will be different. Like real estate will be completely having different drive than e-commerce. Like you will need different people from the start, because you have to also understand, maybe in other location you have people who you can grow and give them a new market, for example, and new responsibilities, what they already have for the existing place where they are at, but they can maybe take a new location, and it will make sense, right? So you have to analyze all those aspects. Like giving professionals in your organization opportunities is always a good thing, and that's something always supposed to appear in HR mind, that hey, these people would probably like to have a global role. They probably would enjoy having business trips to that location. So you have to think about it too, and see what kind of opportunities you can give internally. Of course, the tools, the softwares, the everyday softwares, what you will be working on. And maybe this is the opportunity to see what's new in the market. Like right now, like every day, I feel like something new is coming up, from the task trackers to software to searching engines, you name it. It's just, I feel like with AI already in place, there's just so many ideas already which are being brought to light. And so it's, I think that we are in times when you really have to have your eye open and follow those trends. You can sign up yourself to like many groups, even on LinkedIn, and just keep your eye open for whatever market is offering new, and which will match also your organization and your goals and the vision you already have in place. Some softwares will not match exactly organization which have one location in place, and but others will match some sort of global setup. So it's, you have to always custom for where you are now, and like what kind of company you are, and like what's your goals, what's your vision. Like that's HR work over there, to really sit down with founders, with C-suite professionals, and just understand their vision and then propose right solutions.
So, if you had to pinpoint, when would be the point where you actually make the case to hire someone to help you within HR, and why?
I would start from the beginning, like before even you even have a location. I was in the situations like that. That
But hold on, isn't that why they hired you as the
yeah,
first? Okay, so you're coming in and doing something. So I would imagine on day one, you're not coming in with budget, right? That's the scrappy
yeah.
mindset. I would imagine there's got to be at some point there's a trigger to hire someone to help you, right? What would
Okay.
that?
Okay, so I have the right understanding. You want me to speak from the perspective of me as a global already HR leader who helps my client to open new location, and I am driving process to hire somebody who will help me open
I'm
it.
talking about the former, which is much more common. The idea that you're just starting up and you're the first HR hire at this company,
Mhm,
right? And then you're trying to take it to a certain place before
mhm,
you would consider asking for more headcount. So what
mhm,
is the progress you think is expected, right? And what are the triggers before you would feel like it's the right moment to
mhm.
get help for you in what you're trying to accomplish?
Sure, sure. So this is some sort of, you're not starting from total scratch, because if somebody made a decision to open in that location, then they already made some market research before you even came to the conversation that and end up being hired. But so I would imagine that this is already okay. We want to invest in that market, in that location. We see huge opportunities here, and this is what we want to do. Then they hire somebody like me. I'm already in place. I understand the market. I understand what kind of documents you need, what kind of legal aspects you have to follow, how the wages looks like. So I'm an expert in the field. I'm joining, and I'm from the day one giving you already either confirmation of what you already found, either some different insight of maybe you mistaken in your previous researches. But I remember times when I started in the company where there was not even the official location set up. You have only just one person, you are renting a space in this networking kind of
Co-working space.
co-working space. Yes, thank you. So you're renting a desk in the co-working space. You have your HR professional working there, or you don't even have to do it now because since COVID, times change, and you can just like have this person working remotely from their home, and then this is how it can start, definitely. And then you have also a person in place who can help you to even open this location, because that's what I have been doing as an HR too. Like I have been helping just to even open the location from the administrative side of even talking to building and building representatives, and then even I even work with the construction companies and manage them at the same time, because that's the thing. Like when you want HR in place, like your first, if you want to start from HR, you have to choose the one who had been wearing many hats and is not too good to even go to the construction site and just make sure that your location has all the right aspects so there as well, and everybody is doing the good job. Definitely, this is not only HR responsibilities on the beginnings of projects like that. You really go outside of the box many times. And I think that it's important that whoever will be listening this podcast to understand that this is how it is for the first 5-7 months of the pre-opening stage. And then once you have everything staged, then you really like fully on only HR aspects. But before you just like wearing many hats, it's a startup, like we discussed. But yeah, I hope that.
Yeah, got it. So then one last question while I have you here. With the shifts that you expect in the HR function, what's needed from it? If you're giving advice to someone who's just now coming out of college or school and is looking at getting their first HR role, what thoughts would you have for them about how
Mhm.
they can best be prepared?
Oh, be brave. Let's start from that. Be brave, know your value, and make yourself a place at the table, because you fully deserve this place. Like I said earlier, organizations which have a very healthy and well structured HR teams grows much faster. The founders, the managers, and whoever who is in the executive position and management board understands that, really will get to their goals much faster. And that's just something both sides has to understand. HRs has to be more brave. They have to believe of what they bring to the table, and that they are many times the whole table, and they can really support every aspect of organization. And management board has to understand that they really need that second opinion, and your HR will protect you. It's like we protect everybody. We are always in the middle, and HR is probably this one profession which looks super easy, and it's such a mistake. It's just such a wrong statement, because our job every day is different. We are fighting with change every day. We can plan the entire week and it will never really be like that. We adapt extremely quickly and we deal with whatever comes, because our product, if you want to name it that way, is a person who every day wakes up and can change minds. Every day can wake up in a different mood. Every day can make a different decision, and we have to deal with every situation with the to the highest extent. We have to be very careful of how we speak, what we say, how we even interact, and we always have to make sure that we protect everybody. And at the same time make everybody feel heard, seen, and really we just like I don't think that we are really like replaceable even in the organizations. And I want young professionals to really understand that we did, like your older colleagues did already huge amount of work to change even this perspective of HR, not administrative function, not your hiring, firing event kind of lady, but a true advisor and strategic business partner to the organization. This work already have been done, and I think that it will be following only into the better direction. And but it will happen only if professionals in that division will be brave, because we like our education background even before we start working in that field is really massive, and you just have to you are skilled after the studies, and you just have to be brave to use this knowledge and put this on the real situations, and always share your opinion, because like we also spoke, it's not necessarily that the decision makers will follow your advice, but you have to bring it as an option. You have to say your perspective, and the best is just to have option A, B, C, and even if they want to follow with D, which you didn't propose, you really over looked through the issue and every aspect from every angle.
That's great advice and for the future. And we'll have to leave it there, Angelika. Thank you for this conversation where we talked specifically about how organizations can go global and what that means from an HR perspective. And you've done that over and over again on the ground level. And you have this carrion call to just be brave, right? Whether it means in terms of how you're working with your executive team around the value that you can bring in the HR function, and that can help future proof yourself, right? And the kinds of things that you need to do in opening up a new office or geo, it's probably even more scrappy and more wide from a wide angle lens beyond even what most HR professionals are doing on a day-to-day basis, because it's not just even full life cycle management. You're probably to some degree getting deeper into compliance, deeper into finance, construction and facilities, right, than other folks do. But that kind of mindset can, where you just chase the the to chase that the problems, right, and you're trying to solve whatever comes your way on behalf of the organization, is a great mindset. And for everyone out there who's listening in and looking to future proof your own organizations, especially in this case as you're going global, I hope you got some value out of this conversation with Angelika Ivanov Jackson, as I did. And I want to thank you again, Angelika, and to everyone out there, good luck as you future proof HR.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Thomas. And I would just add, whoever out there, remember that when you seek perfection, somebody else is already doing it. So the longer you wait to take this opportunity to make this step, somebody else already is doing it with the best they can. But you don't need perfection. That's what I'm trying to say. It's just do it. It's just do it, because a lot of ideas dies in the suffer, and a lot of ideas were being buried in the under, like just somewhere in our head, instead of being just like brought to life. Be brave not only to HRs, but be brave everybody.
Wonderful. Thanks for joining us on this episode of Future Proof HR. If you like the discussion, make sure you leave us a 5-star review on the platform you're listening to or watching us on. Or share this with a friend or colleague who may find value in the message. See you next time as we keep our pulse on how we can all thrive in the age of AI. Hey, it's Thomas again. One quick question before you go. Are you and your HR team tired of answering the same employee questions again and again in Slack? If yes, our Cleary AI-powered Slack bot is here to help. It takes routine employee requests and answers it automatically while freeing up time for you to take on more important tasks. At the same time, it automatically builds up an HR knowledge base as you go. It's quick to set up, works right in Slack, and you can try it for free. Just head on over to gocleary.com/HR-chatbot to install it. It's again, gocleary.com/HR-chatbot. Thanks again.